Roberts, ABC News political analyst. Good morning, Stephen Roberts.
Hey, pal.
All right, so where do you go from here? Senators in the same meeting can't agree on what was actually said.
You know, I think this is such a perfect example of a much larger problem in Washington, McGraw. People cannot even agree on basic facts. I mean, how can you have a debate over policy if you can't agree on facts? You take the issue of immigration just as one example. Every economist who's ever studied immigration agrees that immigrants are a strong net plus for the economy of the country. And yet you have President Trump going around the country during the campaign arguing that immigrants were a drain on the country, that they were took jobs away from Americans. No economist agrees with that. So how can you have a sensible debate about policy when people simply deny basic facts and disagree about the most elemental question? Did the man say the word or not? It's part of a much larger problem, my friend.
Yeah, no, there's no question about it. And it seems like Tom Cotton, as some of the others, are changing their story, right? They originally said, I didn't hear him say it. Now they're saying unequivocally he never said it.
Yeah, and they're just not believable. I mean, why would people lie about this? And you had Senator Durbin, very senior, very veteran guy from Illinois, say not only did the president use the word, he used it repeatedly. You've had Republican Senator Flake of Arizona said he was briefed on the meeting before it ever became public and was told that this word was used. Senator Graham, a Republican from South Carolina, told the other Republican senator, Senator Scott of South Carolina, that that word was used. So who is more believable? I don't think in my mind, there is absolutely no doubt that the president used the words. And one of the reasons there's no doubt in my mind is because it fits with what we know about this president. It's not as if this is out of character. It's not as if people hear that and say, gee, I've never heard the president use that kind of language. This president has used this kind of language repeatedly, maybe not that particular word. But this is a guy, when he announced for president, called all Mexican immigrants rapists. I mean, he was part of the birther movement. He has repeatedly invoked racial ideas. He was a guy who said that there were very fine people among the neo-Nazis marching in Charlottesville. So there's a long history here. And when John Lewis, this is Martin Luther King Day, John Lewis, the revered pioneer in the civil rights movement, marched with Dr. King and Selma. Longtime congressman from Atlanta said yesterday on TV of the president, I think he is a racist. He has a lot of basis for saying that over a long period of time.
One of the things you forgot in your brilliant comment there was the White House was asked about it the day of the event, and the White House did not deny him saying it that night.
Yeah, right. I mean, in my mind, there is no question, none, no room for doubt whatsoever. I'm 100% convinced he said the word.
Yeah.
But I also believe that among his core supporters, which is about 35% of the country, they're probably cheering because they share those beliefs, they share those fears, they share those feelings. That's why he says things like that, because he firmly believes that his core base of support agrees with him. And look, the guy did get elected president. He did understand something about the mood of the country. But as you and I have talked many times, 35% is not enough to govern this country.
Right.
But he continues to believe that he has to appeal to that base.
So where do we go from here? We got a shutdown looming. We got DACA. We got all this immigration conversation. How does he get from here to there?
Well, very difficult, because what we've been talking about is a climate that is so poisonous, where senators are calling each other liars, basically, right? Mm-hmm. Now, how do you have a conversation where people sit down with some modicum of trust, some modicum of respect, which is what's essential for reasonable conversation and reasonable compromise? That's why Washington is so dysfunctional, because we're going far beyond seeing our rivals as misguided. We see them as evil and as liars. And once you reach that point, compromise becomes much, much more difficult.
Yeah, to prove your point, if somebody would have said Mike Pence said it, you'd say, no, I don't buy it, right? But because Mike Pence doesn't talk that way, that's not his. The way he's portrayed. That's not how. That he doesn't have the history. Whereas Donald Trump, it's a different story. All right, we'll have to leave it there. Stephen Roberts, always a pleasure. Have a good day. Thanks for checking in.